Good morning, guys. It's time to wake up and stretch. So today's practice is designed to be a much shorter practice than the other videos that I have on my channel right now. And also this video is intended to be much more accessible. Maybe if it's early in the morning and you haven't stretched yet and you're still a little tight, or if you're just new to yoga or still just trying to, find space in your body. This practice should be right for most bodies. Today, you might wish to have, I know if you're just starting out, you probably don't have any yoga props at home, but a pillow is always a nice prop to have on the yoga mat, especially when we come into our seated positions, to give a little height to the sits bones, to make a little space in a gentle way. In addition to having a pillow, since it's the morning, maybe you grab your cup of coffee and set that off to the side. And one other thing about this practice, it is intended to be a complete yoga practice, even though it's only 20 minutes. And what I mean by that is, in a complete yoga practice, we try to bend the spine in all 6 directions, front to back, side to side, and rotationally. So we will accomplish that through today's practice. So when you're ready, go ahead and meet me in a comfortable cross-legged position. So comfortable for you might mean maybe the legs are crossed a little closer to the ankles. If you're able to, work to draw the knees closer towards one another so that the ankles are underneath the opposite knees. Coming up high on the seat, maybe rocking back and forth from side to side. And if you notice that you're kind of slumping forward, rounding forward, kind of caving in through the ribs, this is where you'd want to grab that pillow, place it underneath the tailbone, and then scoot yourself forward so that you're lifting the hips up and back, giving yourself a little tilt to the pelvis, and able to sit up nice and tall. Allow the hands to soften to the thighs or to the tops of the knees. And we'll just start off with some shoulder rolls here, rolling the shoulders up by the ears and down the back. Just a few times. Just working on our posture. One more. And allow the shoulders to settle down the back. Sitting up nice and tall, try to draw the heart forward, belly in, and close down the eyes. In yoga, we typically breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. So let's start there. And just coming into awareness of the breath. So as you're breathing in, mentally say to yourself, I'm breathing in. And as you exhale, say to yourself, I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. Making this your mantra for your breath. Focusing on these words, focusing on the breath. Allowing yourself to come into the present moment. Trying to let go of anything outside of the 4 edges of your mat. Check in with yourself, still breathing in, and still saying you're breathing out. 2 more. Settling back and bringing your attention to the body now, seeing if during that breathing exercise, if you happen to start to round the shoulders forward or slump into your seat, bring yourself back up nice and tall. Begin to flutter the eyes open if they were closed, and bring the hands down by your sides, just tenting the fingertips gently on the mat. Inhale, reaching the arms up towards the sky. Try to find length through the sides of the body. Sit up really tall. Exhale, push it out and away. Hands come back to the earth. Inhale, rising up, reaching up. Reach those fingertips skyward as you draw the shoulders down the back. Exhale, push it out and away. Keep the left hand where it is. Sweep that right arm up and overhead, reaching the arm up by the ear, and start to lean over towards the left side of your mat. So feeling a nice side body stretch here through the right side. You want to press that right hip down, keeping it grounded on the earth. So if it starts to lift up, you've gone too far, go back a little bit. But with your breath, continue breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. With each breath, maybe you find a little bit of a deeper bend. Try to draw that right shoulder back. And maybe you start to walk the left hand away from the left hip, possibly coming all the way down onto the forearm. I'm going to feel a nice stretch through that right side, lifting the right ribs up towards the sky. Shoulders stacked. Slowly coming back through center, sweeping both arms up overhead. And then exhale, right fingertips come down to the mat. Again, starting here, reaching up and leaning over towards the right side of your mat. If your left shoulder starts to round down towards the earth, draw it back. Breathing into the left side of the body. Maybe seeing if you can create a little bit more space for yourself, possibly sliding that right hand away, maybe coming down onto the right forearm, while keeping that left hip grounded on the earth. Inhale, slowly drawing yourself all the way back up to seated. And we'll uncross the legs, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So again, maybe this is an opportunity for you to grab a pillow to place underneath your hips if you didn't use one before. And we're bringing the soles of the feet together, pressing the outer edges of the feet into the mat. Grabbing onto what you can, so maybe that's the front side of the knees, the shins, the ankles. You're gonna grab onto those and draw yourself forward, so lifting the heart through between the arms. From here, we're gonna find a little bit of PNF stretching. So this is using our own body weight and our own muscular energy as resistance. Send the knees down towards the mat with 70% of your effort. The feet can be close or they can be further away, whatever your body permits. Keep pressing the knees down towards the mat, 70% effort. Keep pressing, keep pressing. What this is doing is helping us elongate the muscles in a very short period of time. Slowly release that tension, allow the knees to start to pull back away from the mat. And then sit up nice and tall. Holding here for just a few breaths, allowing the inner thighs to open. And remember, if you're just starting out, your legs probably don't look like this. They might even be up like this, and that's fine. Wherever you're at, remember, we're trying to open up through the inner thighs, sending those knees down. A few more breaths, nice and tall right here. And then slowly allow the spine to round out. And then draw the knees together. And you might still be sitting on that pillow, or you might want to remove it now. I'm going to take the feet wide on the mat, grabbing onto the front sides of the knees. As you inhale, we'll lift the heart forward between the arms, between the thighs, coming up high on the sits bones. As you exhale, round into the spine, curl the crown of the head forward. Inhale, lifting up, taking a slight back bend here. And exhale, curling it out. Back and forth with your own breath pace. So some seated cats and cows here. Make sure you're still inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Two more. And last one. Great, coming back to a neutral seat. I'm gonna turn to the side of my mat so you can see. So from here, let's bring those hands behind us, either fingertips facing towards the edges of the mat or in towards the body. Coming into a supported boat pose. Draw the shoulders together and back, puff the heart forward. And make sure that the feet are about hip distance apart. Feet are in line with the knees, knees in line with the hips. So this is our inhale, lift the heart forward. Exhale, begin to bend the elbows. Inhale, lift the hips away from that, so press into the hands, press into the feet, coming into a reverse table. Exhale, slowly lower the hips back down. Inhale, lift the heart forward. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, press into the hands, press into the feet, lift the hips. And exhale, slowly lower, hips tap. Inhale, puff the heart forward. Exhale, bend those elbows, hug them in towards each other. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the heart forward, last one. Exhale, elbows lower. Inhale, press into the hands, press into the feet, lift the hips. And exhale, slowly bring the hips down, so tap. Allow the legs to sweep off to one side of the mat. Coming forward to hands and knees, tabletop pose. Knees about hip distance apart, so maybe about 2 fist distance between the knees. You can have the tops of the feet on the mat or the toes tucked under, whatever is most comfortable for you. From here, we're gonna walk the hands in towards the body, coming up to a high kneeling position. Tuck the tailbone under, trying to stack the hips over the knees. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhale, thumb tips to heart center. Inhale, circle sweep. As you exhale, bring the hands down in front of you, coming to table. Shift the shoulders forward so they come past the wrists. Get a little stretch there in the forearms. Exhale, hips back to heels, child's pose. Inhale, shifting forward to that tabletop pose, maybe tucking the toes under. Inhale, rising up, sweep the arms up, high kneeling position. Exhale, hands down, coming back to table. Shift the shoulders forward past the wrists. And exhale, sink the hips back to the heels, child's pose. Inhale, forward to table, tuck the toes under. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, hands down. So as we move here, just checking in with some engagements in the body, shifting forward to table. As you rise up, reach the arms up, press the hips forward, tuck the tailbone, and exhale, hands back down. Untuck the toes, pressing back to child's pose. One more, shifting forward, tuck the toes, pass through table, inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands back to the mat. One more time, back to child's pose. Inhale, shifting forward, coming to table. And from here, we're gonna step that left leg forward. So bringing the sole of the left foot to the mat, left toes pointing towards the top. I like to keep my right toes tucked under. That way I know that my leg isn't sickling in or out. If the toes are tucked under, I know that my foot is right behind my knee. From here, in a nice low lunge, we're gonna walk the hands one at a time up to the top of the thigh. So maybe this is enough for you. If you'd like to add on, we're gonna sink the right hip down and forward, draw back on the left hip, and use the hands to press your heart away from the front thigh. Feeling a really strong stretch here through that right hip flexor. See if you can sink a little deeper, only sinking until the front knee is over the ankle, not past the ankle. And from here, unlace the fingers, reach the left arm up to the sky. Exhale, bringing that left hand to the low back, fingertips down. Begin to twist the upper body open towards the left edge of your mat. So draw that left shoulder back. Maybe you have to lessen the bend in that front knee to make the twist happen, to make it a little bit more accessible. Do what you need. And then maybe you re-deepen once you get there. Again, neutralize the spine. So we're not trying to take a back bend here. We're actually trying to draw the belly button in towards the spine to twist deep. One more breath. Let's slowly bring the left hand back to the top of the left thigh. And we'll kickstand that right leg out towards the left edge of the mat. So now we're opening those hips up towards the right side of the mat. Pausing here. If you notice that left knee caving in, try to draw it back so you can see the left big toe. Maybe pick the toes up, give yourself a little wave. Deep breath in. Find that openness, tuck the tailbone under. Neutralize the spine. And then bring that left forearm to the left thigh. Leaning in to the front leg just a little bit. And we'll sweep that right arm up and overhead by the ear. So this is our modified side angle pose. Make sure that that left knee is still drawing out towards the pinky toe edge of the foot. Front knee still over the ankle. If it's in front of the ankle, walk those toes forward a little bit so you can sink in a little deeper. Spiral the right hip open. Spiral the right shoulder back. As you inhale, rise up, settle that right hand down towards the back of your mat. Extending that left leg, reach the left arm up towards the sky or up overhead. Finding a modified side plank here, just a nice stretch through the left side of the body. Press the hips forward. Exhale slowly, bringing the left hand down in front of you. Right hand follows. Let's sweep that left leg back to meet the right. Take the knees wide and sink into your child's pose. So in your child's pose, trying to take those knees wide, bringing the big toes together. You can always bring a blanket underneath the knees if they're sensitive. If your ankles are a little sensitive, maybe you put a blanket underneath. Maybe you add a blanket or a pillow underneath the hips to help them settle down towards the heels as you settle into this pose. So just play around with it. If you're not sure where you're tight, you can always just try moving the pillow or the blanket and see what helps. One more breath here. Slowly begin to pick yourself up. Walk yourself back to face the top of the mat, coming back to hands and knees in tabletop pose. And this time, we'll step that right foot forward, finding that low lunge. Again, option to keep the top of the back foot on the mat or tuck the toes under, whatever feels best for you. And as you're ready, walking hands up onto the right thigh, interlacing the fingers and pressing your upper body away from the thigh. Keep the spine nice and long. As you settle in here, maybe sinking the hips down and forward while keeping the tailbone tucked. So what you don't want to do, you don't want the sink of the hips forward to cause you to lean back. And we want to keep that spine nice and neutral, protecting the low back. Slowly unwind the fingers. Reach that right arm up towards the sky. And exhale, right hand to the low back, fingertips facing down. Draw yourself open, so hug the inner thighs together. That right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. Belly button in towards the spine, opening up towards the right edge of your mat. One more breath. So you can get a little taller through the upper body. And then slowly coming back to center, bringing the hands back to the top of the thigh. We'll pivot the back leg, kickstanding the left leg out towards the right side of the mat. You might need to heel toe that right foot so it's in line with the back knee, coming into your modified side angle. So those right toes pointing forward, opening up through that right inner thigh. Take the look down towards the top of your mat so you can see the right big toe. Start to square the shoulders towards the left edge of your mat. And as you're ready, right forearm to right thigh. Start to lean some of the weight forward as you draw that right hamstring back. And then maybe you sweep that left arm up towards the sky or up overhead by the ear. Keep the shoulders open. Open the hips. One more breath. As you inhale, that left arm leads you up. Left hand settles to the back of the mat as you extend that right leg, sweeping the right arm up by the ear, coming into a modified side plank. Drive the hips towards the left edge of your mat. Shoulders stacked, hips stacked. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands down towards the left side of your mat. Sweep the right leg behind you. And again, settle into your child's pose. Work to draw those big toes together, knees wide. And try to settle the hips entirely back to the heels. Or again, if you don't have something that the hips settle to, a pillow or a blanket work just fine. Begin to draw yourself up to hands and knees. Turn to face the top of your mat, and we'll sweep the legs off to one side. Bringing feet down, knees up. Okay. And then slowly lowering all the way down, maybe coming to the forearms and all the way down onto the back. Again, feet and knees in line with the hips. We're going to draw that right leg in. So grabbing either behind the thigh, maybe the front side of the knee, drawing the right knee in towards the right shoulder. We want to keep the hips as level as possible on the mat. So if you notice that left side rolling up, try to send it down. Keep drawing that right knee in towards the body. And then look at the left leg. We're going to cross the right ankle just above the left knee. Once you do that, you're going to want to send that right knee towards the top of your mat. So push it away from the upper body. Right foot is flexed. It's nice and active. This might be enough for you. If you want more, begin to inch the left foot closer towards the body. Keep pressing the right knee forward. If you want even more, maybe you interlace the fingers behind the left thigh and pull the base leg in towards you. Again, continue to press that right knee away from the body. Try to keep the spine nice and long on the mat. So if you notice your tailbone rounding up, you probably want to bring that foot back down to the earth. If you notice your shoulders and your head rounding up, try to settle them down. One more deep breath in. Exhale, see if you can pull the legs a little closer or push the right leg further away. Release whatever you have a hold of. Allow the left foot to come back to the earth. Bring the arms out to a T, and we'll gently cross the legs like ladies do. Move the hips over to the right side of your mat as you allow the knees to fall over to the left, finding a spinal twist. So if your legs are just kind of hanging out in space here, you absolutely want to grab that pillow or that blanket to support underneath the knees, underneath the ankles. Allow the legs to settle down to something. A lot of times in yoga, people feel like props are a sign of weakness. It actually is what really helps you develop flexibility if you're lacking it. With the legs resting on something, also check in with that right shoulder and make sure it's resting comfortably on the mat as well. Coming back to center, we'll unwind the legs, bringing the feet back down, knees up, and switch to the other side. Left knee into chest, left knee in towards the shoulder. Grabbing onto whatever you can, the back side of the thigh, the front side of the knee. And take the gaze towards that right knee. Cross left ankle just above it. Starting here, foot's flexed. Muscularly press the left leg away. And from here, choosing to stay, maybe walking that base foot in, or drawing the entire knee package in towards the body. And if you notice any twerking in your body, meaning it's rolling to one side of the mat or the other, you might want to just go back a step. And wherever you're at, remembering to continue pressing that left shin and left knee away from the body. Slowly releasing right foot down to the mat. And then crossing the legs gently, arms come out to a T. We'll move the hips off to the left side of the mat this time, and then allow the knees to fall over to the right. Allow them to settle down either to the ground or grabbing onto that pillow or blanket. Slowly making your way back to center. Uncross the legs, recenter the hips on your mat, and this time hugging both knees into the chest. Maybe rocking from side to side. And then releasing the feet back down, extending the legs long. Hands can come down by your sides, palms face up. Or maybe that right hand comes to the low belly and the left hand comes to the heart. Allow the toes to rotate out towards the outer edges of your mat as you close down the eyes and settle in for a few moments of rest. Feeling free to press pause and continue your rest, or choosing to begin to reawaken the body. Wiggling fingers and toes. Rolling wrists and ankles. Maybe reaching the arms up overhead. Taking a nice long body stretch. Then bringing the feet down to the mat, knees up. And rolling over to one side. Cradling the head in your arm. And with as little effort as possible, pushing your way up to seated on the mat. Coming back to where we started with that nice cross-legged position. Maybe even choosing to switch the cross of the legs this time. Hands come down by your sides. Inhale, take one deep cleansing breath in. And as you exhale, bring the thumb tips to heart center. Honoring the light inside and teacher in us all. From my heart to yours. Namaste.